Hello, all of one viewers at the moment. How you going? I'm not sure who's online. Send me a message in the chat if you wanna say hi. Got a couple other people hopefully coming on. I haven't done many of these live streams, but I do want to practice and get better at it. I'm in the new garage. Well, not the new garage. I'm in my garage at the moment with the new setup going. So just testing everything out. Similar to, we did a live show a couple of weeks ago where we did something similar and didn't work that well. So we're just trying to get all the little kinks and all that sorted before we go anywhere. Hey, Lockie, always a big watcher of the show. How's your show going, mate? You killing it with the subs, mate. I think you're nearly up to 8,000 or something, aren't you? I the moment. How you going? Thanks for tuning in. What is it? Monday today. As I was saying before, I'm in the garage at the moment. I can hear a little bit of traffic going past, but hopefully no one else can pick up on all that noise. Hopefully the microphone settings are pretty good and all that. How's the video quality? I've got a garage light on and a key light above the camera, so hopefully that's not too bad. Hopefully there's not too much lag or anything like that. Hopefully it's a little bit better than last time. Anyway, I know both you, Lockie, and either moment were in the live show chat last time around as well. So thanks for joining us on that one. Video quality is good. It's just a bit laggy. All right, thanks for letting me know, mate. I'll see what I can do about that. I might fiddle with the settings the next time around, unless I can do that live. I don't want to take any risk doing it live. Thanks, mate. Lockie, have you ever done any live stuff? I think you might have done a few. I think I've seen some live videos from you, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I know you've done some crosses from the cricket. You'll probably be doing some similar things when you get down to the footy this year as well with your Rode microphone thing set up. What are you using for your camera equipment there, mate? I'm curious to know what you're using there. Are you using just like a mobile phone, or is it a proper DSLR camera? What's the go there? I'm keen to sort of hear what you think about that. But what I have posted a topic chat, and I've also put some videos out on the channel as well. Which I'm not sure if you may or may not have seen a few of them, but just keen to hear what you think about who the new captain might be, and probably as a part B to this question as to when do you think the new captain's going to get announced. Collingwood's captain just got announced the other day, Darcy Moore, and you'd have to think Geelong's not too far away from naming the next Joel Selwood, or the Joel Selwood replacement. Hopefully it's not too much longer. I know they're off in Warrnambool today at the community camp down that way, so maybe that'll fill up some of the social and the news feeds for the next couple of days. But maybe later in the week, when the news dries up a bit, and maybe that's where they're choosing their captain as well, the little training getaway camp, and that's going to be the final decision about who they're picking. I don't know, yeah, I'm keen to know. I think it'll be, my personal opinion will be that and it's the boring choice. Not boring as in he's not a boring player, but I think the common choice is that it's going to be Tom Stewart. I really wouldn't be surprised though if it's Tom Stewart and a combination of like Tom Hawkins or Mark Blitzarves, something like that. I would not be surprised if it was the two of them. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that's something that could happen? Yeah, I think maybe. I don't know. I just think just with the age profile, I feel like they'll go for someone a bit more senior, and possibly someone who's got maybe 4 or 5 years left in the tank moving forward. I think that's probably the way they'll go. If they went for someone like a Tom Stewart, I think he'll have 4 or 5 years left at a good level. If they went for someone a bit older than that, like a Hawkins, there's a few other options there, but yeah, I don't know how long they'll hang around for, or if their bodies will allow them to compete at a high level for long. That's going to be the trick, I think. How long? If you pick someone. Thanks, Matthew. Big fan of the channel. Sorry for the random question. What's your random question? Yeah, Tom Stewart fits the age profile. What's your random question, Matthew? Keen to know. Maybe it hasn't popped up. I think. Oh, here we go. Could you please make a playlist of the Geelong wins from 2005? Ooh, that's a big project. I could do. There's a good YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. What's his name again? It escapes me. But there's a YouTuber. It'll come to me in a minute. There's a YouTuber that puts out highlights of all the games over the last. He's been crazy at it for. I think he's been putting highlights out for every week for the last 10 years or something like that. What's his name? Anyway, I'll come back to it. I'll put it in the notes if I can't remember. But that might be a good one. I'll probably do like a last time. So, the last time we played Collingwood highlights package, and I might sort of talk to that a little bit. I'll aim to do that every week. But whether I can go all the way back to 2005, I'd love to. Whether I can or not. Matthew, what do you think about the captain? Are you in the same boat as me and either moment that Tom Stewart's probably the obvious choice? Do you think someone outside of that might be looked at? I think probably that's the most likely pick for me. There's always a possibility that I'll go for someone that maybe no one's expecting, like a Tom Atkins. A lot of people talk about Brad Close. Maybe that's just because we love Brad Close, but do we realistically think that he'll be captain this go around? I don't think so. I've got some new videos coming out over the next 5 days. The first one's dropping at 4 o'clock today, actually. It's just a look at who maybe the next captains will be after, for 3 or 4 years' time from now, and maybe all the way up to 2030. Who we might be looking at based on our current list. We could get some other players come in between now and then that might put their hand up for something like that. But yeah, I've got a video coming out. The first one's Sam De Koning. Everybody loves the Sam De Koning thumbnail. Lockie, if you haven't realised that already, mate, get onto that pretty quick, because that always gets a few more views, a Sam De Koning thumbnail. If you can get Sam De Koning's face on something, you're winning straight away. Is Mitch Duncan playing on 2023? I think he is. Whether he goes beyond that, I'm not sure. He's starting to get a few of those old man injuries, which is a bit frustrating for him, and to a lesser degree for us fans. Hopefully he'll go another year beyond this one. Hopefully he goes longer than that still, but realistically, I think we can get him at it through this year and then another year. That'd be great. It'd be nice to see him push towards 300 games. I can't remember exactly how many games he's on at the moment. Let me have a look at that one, actually. I'll just check out how many games is Mitch Duncan on. I always look at AFL tables. If anyone's not familiar with that one, get familiar with it, because it's got heaps of stuff on there, everything you need about a player and every game that's ever been played. Can't get much about the reserves, though. Mitch Duncan's played 258 games in the hoops, one club player. So what does he need? 42 more games to crack 300. Will he get it in 2 years? Interesting. Will he make 300? I don't know. I think he will. But yeah, he's gonna have to be reasonably lucky with injury, because it's asking a lot for him to go on and play 3 more seasons. I know he's got a young family and all that too, and he's done everything you need to do. He's won premierships early on in 2011 in his second season, and he won another one last year. So what more can the guy do? Hey, Jazz Boy, 212. I reckon Mark Blitzarves was in the leadership group. I reckon he would be perfect for the captain, as he can play anywhere. Yeah, look, I'm big on Blitz, actually. I think he's probably... He could come from nowhere, and it's just whether he wants to do it or not. He was on the club website there was a video of him on the club website the other day. So whenever I see a senior player putting their face out there a little bit, Danger does it a lot. But seeing Blitzarves do a bit of that, get his face out there a lot. I just wish Tom Stewart would do more of that stuff. He seems to not be keen on it, and I think you need to as a captain. But yeah, Blitz was doing it, so he was talking about some things, and I think he'd be a good selection. He's on the other side of 30, as a few other blokes are, but he could play for a few more years. He doesn't look like he looks like he's easily got 3 years left. And I think we need a captain. Well, my preference would be to have a captain for 3 years, 2-3 years. I mean, it's just the age profile of the list. You know, we've got how many guys are over 30. You're probably going to pick a captain for the next 2 or 3 years and then see what the list looks like after that. If you go for someone maybe a little bit younger in their 20s or something. So I think that's probably where we're looking at the moment. Mitch Duncan is a champion, used to play AFL fantasy for 10 years, Supercoach Dream Team, whatever you want to call it. I always made him a captain, and Mark Blitzarves as a ruckman. Do you remember the start of last year when they were saying Reece Stanley was no good and Blitzarves can't ruck? How good did they look at the end of the year though? Just like, oh, why isn't everyone doing this? This sharing the ruck duties, and then you throw in Tom Hawkins taking all the ruck contests up forward as well. It's great, isn't it? It's I can't imagine things will align themselves as beautifully as what they did towards the end of last year. I just can't see that happening again, because it did feel like the stars did align at the right time for us to win that premiership. Whereas the era of 2007 to 2011, it just felt like we were always the best team or second best team or something like that, and it felt a bit more like destiny. Whereas this felt more like everything just kind of worked. The first half of the year, and it's a long time ago now, but first half of last year, we were sort of doubting them about whether this game plan was going to work. We should go back to whatever it was, sack the coach, all this sort of doom and gloom stuff. We weren't travelling that badly, but yeah, we really went on that run, didn't we? 16 games in a row and finished it off beautifully in the grand finals. Fantastic. Either Moment says, either of last year's Cardew Greaves medalists would make a good vice captain also. Yeah, I did a video on Cam Guthrie. Probably not sold on him in a massive way. I think he doesn't seem to be overly vocal, but then again, I'm not hanging around the outside of the pack, and you just don't have a microphone on the players, do you? To know what's going on. You don't see them around the club. You don't see what they do. I mean, unless you're involved in the club or you know them, or you get down there every now and then, you just don't really know. I think only the players and the coaches and some of the admin staff would probably know really what it's like, or what some of the players are like. I just, from the outside looking in though, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't see it in Cam Guthrie heaps. But potentially as a vice captain maybe, and maybe that's something that he's been around since 2011 as well. So didn't make that grand final side that year, but he was an emergency. But he's been with the club a long time now. Maybe this is the next step for him. He's got a premiership, and is his interest now in more bringing these young players along and taking more of that leadership approach? Look, we've got so many leaders at this club, so many people in that over 30s that just want to give back to the younger guys coming through. Hopefully they'll get some opportunities. Jazzboy 212 or 212 says, I reckon if we put some of the younger players in the leadership group to start getting them ready to be captain if they want to be captain. Yeah, I tell you who I'd put in the leadership group. And I'm big on this guy, Max Holmes. Get him in there. I would not be surprised if Max Holmes is in the conversation not for the captain announcement in the next few days, weeks, or whatever, but the next time we have this conversation in a few years' time, I would not be surprised if Max Holmes is in that conversation. I think, as I said earlier, I think Sam DeConning's probably in a conversation in about 7 years' time. He's only played 20-odd games or something of footy, so it's crazy, really. How good is he? It's amazing how good that bloke is so early. Yeah, I think he's in the conversation. Brad Close, Tom Atkins, those kind of guys. Your Jai Clarks, is it too early to start talking about Jai Clarks? Yes, and probably way too early to start talking about Jai Clark. He needs to have a run in the ones first. Maybe 50 odd games before we can actually seriously talk about that. But I like crystal balling it a little bit and seeing what the future holds with some of these guys. And look, he probably in 20, if he turns out to be the player that we all hope Jai Clark turns out to be, then in 7 years' time maybe it'll be good timing for him. And who knows when the next captain will be? Maybe they'll go for someone like Tom Stewart and he'll play till he's 40. and he'll be captain for the next 11 years. Who knows? I think he's turning 30 this year, sometime in July or August or something like that. But yeah, I think you get some younger guys in the leadership group. We do have a lot of senior players that will just lead anyway. But I think it's probably time to get some of those younger guys in the leadership group, knowing that the next captain's probably going to come from that group as well. So you've got your Tom Atkins, who's probably a little bit older than some of the others. He'll be about 29 in 3 years' time. So and he might be perfect in 3 years' time. That's 29's a good age. But I guess probably the thing I've got against that is we're likely to have an older captain for the next 2 or 3 years now. And do we want another older captain for another 2 or 3 years? You're not going to get your Joel Selwood 10-year captains all the time. That just doesn't happen. You don't always pick 23-year-olds to lead your club for 10 years. In a perfect world, yeah, Joel Selwood comes along all the time. But it's not all the way it goes. G'day, Bumper FPS. Unpopular opinion, Oscar Murdoch would make a phenomenal agile forward, similar to Rowan with the pressure of Dalhouse. I haven't seen a lot of Oscar Murdoch yet, apart from what some of the videos on the club's websites and things like that. I'm really keen to have a look at him. I'm pretty jealous of anyone who's down in Warrnambool at the moment that's had an opportunity to see what he's doing. Be good if I'm assuming the club will put some video out today as well, but I can't wait to get down to a VFL game, and assuming he'll play most of the season in the VFL, but can't wait to see what him and Phoenix and Oscar Riccardi and a few of those guys that aren't going to play too much senior footy this year. Can't wait to see what they look like in the hoops, and to really have a red hot crack at an AFL career, a long AFL career in the hoops. Really get excited about seeing the new boys run around, and the new girls for that matter. Which there's just no news about the AFL women's team. It's a bit of a disgrace, really. I don't know when the draft is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if we traded players. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, really excited to see the new boys run out in some VFL action soon. I have to check when the VFL season starts. Hopefully it's reasonably similar to the other one. Thanks, Bumper. I don't think it's an unpopular opinion at all. I think he'll be okay. I don't think he'll play that many games this year. I did put out a video about the new guys and how many games I reckon they'll play. So check that one out if you haven't, Bumper, already. Jazz Boy says, imagine Max Holmes captain and Sam DeConning vice captain. Oh my God, that's something to drool over, mate. I love Max Holmes. I'm really, really hopeful and optimistic for his season this year. I'm feeling really good about it. I hope he doesn't prove me wrong and do a hammy in the first week and tears it off the bone or something like that. And that'll just be, you better not. I love the guy, and I think he's just going to be fantastic. He's not going to be a Gary Ablett Jr. They don't come along. He's like one of the best ever, if not in the conversation with the best ever player. But I think if he can, I think Max Holmes is destined to be an elite top 5 player in the comp as soon as this year. I'm very bold on that one, and I'm could have egg on my face, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. I won't sit on the fence on some of my opinions on this stuff. So I'm either, if you ever hear me sit on the fence, pull me up. I'm going to go hard, or I'm not going to have an opinion at all on it. But I won't sit on the fence, and I think Max Holmes will be a top 5 player in the comp by the end of the season. Imagine Max. Yeah, I've read that one. So, hey, Ben, did you have any spies at today's training session in Warrnambool? No, I don't, unfortunately, at the moment. I'm hoping that the Cats media team will be there, though, and filming some of it. I would have loved to have got along to the intra-club match, practice match the other day, or the other night. I know a few journos got the invite. Unfortunately, while I'm hoping to grow this channel beyond a lowly 500 plus subscribers, which I love you all, but I'd love to get up to 5,000 or something, and then have some serious conversations with the club about getting a bit more access to some training sessions and so forth, and be able to bring a bit more in-depth content behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I don't have any spies in Warrnambool at the minute. Do you know anyone? Maybe there's some photos will come out on the socials, which is always nice to see. It does dry up a little bit. The socials are a little bit dry at the moment. We try to keep it going throughout the off-season where we can, but it is pretty hard. And the clubs won a premiership. They don't have to do too much, really, to keep the fans happy. I think they do a pretty good job as it is. Good childhood mate of yours, Oscar Murdoch. Oh, yeah. Look, I'd love to get him on our interview show Behind the Play at some point as well. I think I was having a bit of a chat with him. I don't know the guy, but I was just chatting through him through Instagram, and we were sort of talking about maybe next year at some stage. We'll see how we go. We have had Oscar Riccardi come on the show, so that episode I'll be dropping in I think a couple of weeks or something. I think first round of the season we'll drop that episode. Oscar Riccardi was great to chat to as well. And from everything I hear about Oscar Murdoch too, and Phoenix and some of the other guys, I haven't had a chat with Jai Clark yet, but I'd love to have a chat with him at some stage as well. Max Blake, hey Max, how you going, mate? How's the local footy? You keen for another season there? Win some more awards, mate. Big prediction, hot prediction. Chris Scott will have to do a 2011 big call on Hawkins with Shannon Neal, like he did with Mooney and Hawkins back then, mate. I put a video out. I think it was a bit of a doom and gloom thing. I don't think Hawkins is going to play anywhere near 25 games. Now that's because he's not going to play a full season, I think he's going to be struggling to get over the line in the finals. I just think he's ready to get some injuries. I think he's been on the park week in, week out for almost every week for the last 4 or 5 years. He barely misses a game apart from jumper punching someone here or there, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want it to happen, but it's just my fear that he's going to start getting some injuries, and it's probably why I don't really like the idea of him being the captain, even though he ticks every single box you'd want in a captain. But just for that reason, I don't know. I've got nothing. It's not based on science. It's clearly the guy's had some injury over the off season and later in the year, and he was running around with it in the finals and seemed to be okay. So. But it does take a little while, and he's only just started running. So if you think about when pre-season starts, well before Christmas, he's like 6 or 7 weeks behind. So even if he does play round one, which I highly doubt, he's not going to he's not going to be fit enough to go straight away, I don't think. But look, Max. Imagine Tommy Hawkins getting dropped. He's on the edge of winning a 4th premiership, being the second only player at the club to win a 4th premiership after Joel Selwood, which was just miraculous. How he did that, it was amazing. We were hoping he'd do it all year. All of us were hoping all year that he would walk off we didn't want him to retire, but we probably thought he was going to retire. But if that was going to be the case, we did want him to win his premiership, and he did. But it'd be good to get Hawkins there as well. His good mate Hawkins, who drafted in the same year. Let's get him over the line as well. And get him the 4th premiership. That'd be great. Jazz boy Hawkins, I reckon maybe this might be his last season. Yeah, mate, I think that's probably the case. Like he as I said, he came in the same year as Selwood. He actually was drafted. I think he was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was drafted the same year as Jack Rewalt as well. So both of those boys have had remarkable careers. Really, Rewalt with the 3 premierships and Hawkins with 3 as well. Spread out over a few more years, but. Crazy, isn't it? I think it could be his last. I think if he's gonna take on the captain's role, then maybe that's I don't know. Maybe it's for 1 year and pass the baton. I think if he's going to do it, I think it'll be a co-captaincy type thing. Which I hate co-captains. I really do. I'd much prefer it just to be like a Tom Stewart and off you go, Tom Stewart, do it on your own. But it could be a Hawkins 1 year kind of thing. Maybe it's a Hawkins danger situation. Maybe they're keen to give it to Tom Stewart in a couple of years' time. I think Tom Stewart's done his apprenticeship though. He's ready to go. I don't know. I'm going to post another topic question. Where is my mouse? If I can get it to work. Bear with me. Where is the improvement going to come from this year? So I'm keen to know what you think about. I don't think there's some players that you just can't imagine getting any better than they already are. But where do you think it's going to come from in 2023? I'll just pin that one so it doesn't disappear under all the chat. What do people think? Look, I'm thinking, as I said before, I think you're going to see a big 20% increase in Max Holmes. He's going to go to that next level, be an absolute star of the comp. I think Parfitt He's not been a player that's frustrated me, but he's probably not reached his peak yet. I would like to see peak Parfitt at some point, please. Sorry, I had to squeeze the extra P in there. But yeah, I'd like to see Parfitt absolutely dominate the comp. Can Tom Stewart go to another level? I don't know. I think Jack Henry's got another couple of levels in him. I definitely think he's got a few more levels to go. I'm just going to pull up the list of players at the moment so I don't forget anyone. I reckon, yeah, you got your Tom Stewart could probably... it's going to be hard for him to go anymore. If anything, there'll be guys going backwards. I think Jed Hughes has got another level in him. I think he'll get a little bit of confidence from the premiership. Tom Atkins has got another couple of levels. I think he'll be amazing as well. Interesting to see what some of these other guys that we've brought in, Tanner Bruin and Jack Bowes and Ollie Henry, like, are they? What are we gonna get from those? Are they going to thrive in this new environment, or are they going to struggle to find a game week in, week out? I think we'll have fresher legs this year, says I, the moment, and speedy guys like Mullen, Bruin will be given every chance. I think I really want to see Oisin Mullen, and I'm going to say in the VFL for the most part. Hopefully he gets a couple of games. I'd love to see him, but I think we'll have to see how he goes. He looks like seen highlights of him over in Ireland. Looks fantastic if he can convert that to AFL. But it is a bit of a jump, and we probably shouldn't take it lightly or make assumptions about how easy it is, because it must be very, very hard to switch from one code to another, even if you are an athletic tackling beast or a bull. I don't know. I think we've definitely got some fresh legs, but are we going to trust in the older guys as much as we did last year? Even though we did rotate them through, and I think we'll continue that rotation policy, but are we going to rely more on the next generation coming through? Are we going to hopefully get a Shannon Neal if he can get over his recent injury? Are we going to get a massive jump from him like we got from De Conning? Is it asking too much to get two of these guys to really sort of come on 2 years in a row? I don't know. You're never going to... not say never, but what Sam De Conning did last year was remarkable. It was absolutely insane how much effort and how much, not effort, but how much of an improvement he showed in just one season. I don't think he played in the COVID. Was he around in the COVID era when we were in the hub? I'm not too sure. Jazz Boy says the only key position that we need to stay fit all year is the ruckman. Our defence is all right, and our forward line is all right, and our midfield is all right. Stanley. He's another year older, and he was struggling a lot. Even though his form was pretty good last year, he did struggle with his injuries a lot through the year, and was actually not lucky, but fortunate maybe is the better word, to make it all the way to the end and play a reasonably good grand final and prelim after that pretty average game from most people's accounts in the first final against Collingwood. But he turned all that around, and I'm really proud of what he did in that grand final and the prelim. So look, I don't know. Look, Blitzarves, I continue to see him. I think we'll see him on the wing for the most part, but he plays anywhere he wants, wherever is needed, on whatever type of player that you need. It'll be, is there any, with Toby being injured, Toby Conway, I was really hoping to see him play a lot this year, but he's unfortunately, I mean, it's a long-term prospect with Toby, but I thought we were going to start to see the emergence of Toby Conway this year. Maybe that's going to be pushed back another year now, in terms of his regular game time. Ideally, you would have started to sort of alternate him and Stanley a little bit, but it looks like it's Stanley's job, and we'll see what Segler's got. Jonathan Segler, is he going to have a couple more games this year? He had a couple towards the end of last year, and then was omitted again on the eve of the finals. We'll see. I don't know. I'd like to see Segler get a couple more, but he's another older player as well, so he's not the future. But the future's unfortunately injured at the moment. And then is there someone else? Like, is Phoenix Foster going to have a couple of goes this year? I don't know. It's really hard to tell at the moment because without seeing any practice matches or match simulations or VFL form, it's really hard to know how the new guys are going to go. And you have, and when I say new guys, I'm the new draftees, but I think the recruits, as in from trades we got from other clubs, they'll be given probably first crack at it because we know a little bit more about what's going on there, and I think we'll see a fair bit from Jai Clark as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Jai Clark into the system pretty quickly, to the senior team early in the year, and we'll see how he goes. I imagine he'll get a little bit lost at times, and as good as you are at the junior levels, you throw anyone into a new club, a new team, you just got to learn the whole systems again, and they've got to trust you, and you've got to know where to be and how to fit in, and it's just not that easy. So it's amazing when someone does slot straight into a system. You don't see that very often, but it is pretty amazing when you do see it. Which is why it was crazy. Joel Selwood, how he just came in 2007 and straight away hit the ground running, and probably Jimmy Bartell did when he came to the club as well. I don't know. So where else are we going to get improvement from? What do I think? Hang on, let me have another look. I think, nothing from Paddy Dangerfield, clearly. Cam Guthrie, I reckon he might have one more level, another 5% in him, which would be remarkable. I'd like to see him get a little bit closer to Brownlow contention. He's been very, very good for a long time. Used to look for his brother a little bit too much. Would sort of be a little bit predictable on that side of things, which was great that he was looking for his brother, but he's probably overdoing that a little bit. I don't know. Who else we got? Ollie Henry, mentioned he should get some opportunities, I'd say. Jack Henry's got some more levels to go. Mitch Nevitt, are we going to see some more games from Mitch Nevitt this year? He's played a couple last year. Didn't set the world on fire, but I imagine he might play a few more games this season as well, and we'll get a sense of whether he's got a future at the club, hopefully, after this year. Jake Kolodashny, I think he can... What is he? He's going to be 28 at some stage this year. He's got a little while to go. I think he could start to become... Hopefully he's got some improvement in him. Hopefully he doesn't sort of just plateau now and lose his spot to someone else over time. But he said nearly 10 years at the club, nearly. So if not 10 years, so he's done a pretty good job. Because when he came into the league, he was the second best brother at the time. I think twins they were. So I felt like we picked him up more so to get his brother down the track, and then the brother sort of unfortunately got all those injuries and had a bit of an early retirement. Sam Menengola is one that's a bit forgotten, really. I could see Sam Menengola really coming back in a big way at some stage later on. Hopefully he's ready to go, but I think he's carried some injuries or had some surgery in the off-season as well. So I'd love to see a big year from Sam Menengola. I'd love to see him have another opportunity at a grand final. Yeah, he was there in 2020, and you could say that was his chance. And they're not easy to get into grand finals, and not easy to get into in a team that's so good as it is. But hopefully he gets himself right and has a real hot crack at it. It is going to be hard to improve at the moment. Game plan came to fruition beautifully last year, so it's more to do with coaches than anything. And we did make a lot of changes with the coaches. We farewelled Corey Enright and Matthew Scarlett and one or two others, and we brought in your James Kellys and Matty Egan and Eddie Betts, clearly, and I'm probably forgetting one or two others, and the premiership runner and Shannon Burns, he was kind enough actually to come on our show, on our Behind the Play show. So we'll drop that episode off soon. It was really interesting for two reasons: to talk to the guy, obviously, because he's been around premierships forever, but just doing some of the research on his life, his footy life, and he's been winning premierships as a junior. He's been winning premierships in the AFL, and then he finishes up and goes and wins 4 straight premierships in the local comps. It's just insane. Everywhere that bloke goes, he wins premierships, and he's not had a lot of. He's very, very harshly judged throughout his career. When you're playing one of the best teams ever, there's always going to be the 22nd bloke on your list in the team is always going to cop it a little bit because they're not as good as a Matthew Scarlett or a Gary Ablett Jr. or something like that. But the bloke won 2 premierships for us and two Ansett Cup, Wizard Cup night premierships, if you want to call them that as well. Throwing a VFL premiership for the club as well, and then everything he did outside of that. And now he's won premierships as a runner with Melbourne and one with Geelong. And he's still in the system, so who knows what the future holds. I think he might have retired from his footy playing days, possibly. But anyway, I've gone off on a little tangent there, haven't I? Lockie says, at what point does Chris Scott exit the club? Say if we lose another 5 prelims in a row, would he stay at the club? No, I think Lockie, I think he's proven himself now, so I won't say, can't imagine Chris is the type of guy that says, yep, job done. I've done everything I need to do in the game to prove myself. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if the end came soon, actually. If the challenges weren't there anymore, if we started slipping a little bit and, it was a bit of a mass exodus from the club because a lot of the older guys just moved on or retire really quickly, and we need to get some fresh voice in, and he wants to be a coach for another 10 years or so. I think he might look at other opportunities in a couple of years' time, 2 or 3 years' time. If it goes that way, hopefully we stay a successful club and we have a premiership era. It just generally doesn't go that way though. It's pretty hard to win back-to-back premierships. History would say in the last 30 years you've got a 20% chance of doing that. Which is pretty low. You've got I think it's a 1 in 3 chance of making the grand final again, which is pretty good odds. You'd take that, wouldn't you? But it's still less than a coin flip. So they're hard to win. So as much as we probably get used to winning these grand finals and having so much success, you do have to remind yourself that these are really, really hard to win. And coaches, and he's been very harshly judged for not winning more grand finals, but he's been. He's done everything he can have done. He's won 2 premierships now. We've been competitive for since 2011, since he came to the club. I think we had 1 year where we didn't make the finals, and that was only just. We only just missed out on the finals that year. So I think, I think if we made prelims, I think it's probably more that he would want to set himself another challenge more than anything else. I think the same. It'd still be good enough. There's clearly a new group of boys coming through now, and it'll be probably the 3rd group of boys that he's brought through. He inherited a premiership era, and then he built his own over that next 10 years or so, and then he'd have to go again with the new crop coming through and whatever the draft looks like over the next couple of years as well. We'll see what that looks like. At the moment, the game plan will focus a lot more on running. Every club is trying to get better in the running games. Yeah, I think so. And our ball use, especially towards the end of last year, it just made us look so fast. In the way we moved the ball, we weren't, it wasn't always that we were running with it all the time. But I think if you can move the ball efficiently, you just naturally look a lot faster. And I think we've got a lot of running guys in our side. There's a few older guys that will probably slow down a little bit. Danger's still got his little burst of speed, but just doesn't have. We don't see as frequently, and you just don't want him to do it all the time as well because you just feel like he's going to pull a hammy or something's going to go wrong. So you want to put him in cotton wool for most of the year. And I think there's a couple of other guys you wouldn't think of that fast. Jack Henry's pretty quick. Interesting to see with some of the younger guys what they look like. I don't know. What's Shannon Neal like? He looks a bit like Buddy Franklin. He won't be the next Buddy Franklin. It's pretty hard to kick 1,000 goals, in case you didn't know. But I like the way he moves. Man, Oscar Riccardi looks like a jet, doesn't he? Oh, he should be going. Gary Rowan will probably slow down a little bit. Unfortunately, I hope he doesn't watch this show. I really hope he doesn't watch it because and if he does, look, Gary, I absolutely think you're a fantastic. I love you, and I've always loved you at the club. but I have to call it as I said. I just feel like this could be the year that the body goes a bit more, and we just need to get some more opportunities into Ollie Henry and some other types. So I don't see him being a regular. When I say regular, I don't see him playing 25 games. That sounds like a bit of a fence sitter, so I'll modify that a little bit. I see him playing about 10 games this year. I wish it wasn't the case, but I think we've seen the best of Gary Rowan, and I think I really hope if he proves me wrong. I really do, because I love him so much. I was born in 2007, so I've never seen Geelong be bad. Not a bad time to be a Cats fan, says Lockie. You're a lucky boy, Lockie. You know that, mate. Don't ever, as you get older, I'm 43, Lockie, so I've had a pretty good run since 1989. So I was about 10 years old then. We started winning all that. We started making all those grand finals when I was 10. Didn't win them, unfortunately, so I got a bit of heartache, but still saw a very successful Geelong side in that era. And then I was at that sort of nice age, I reckon, where you've had all that heartache, and it would have been the mid to late 20s in 2007 when we started winning premierships, and it was great. And so I was able to enjoy that for pretty much for the last 10 years, really. I'm like, okay, I'm just happy to see Geelong compete week in, week out, and then to see him win another premiership again, and just to let Selwood go off as a premiership captain. It was beautiful, wasn't it? you couldn't have scripted it any better. Sam Simpson, yes, I'm going to mention Sam Simpson. Thanks, Lockie, because I didn't want to forget about him. And I'll keep this live chat going for another 20 minutes or so, and then I'll wrap it up. But Sam Simpson, oh my God, I really want to see him get out there and have a good, clean run at it. He's, there's always a player at every club, probably a few at some other clubs, that are just always hard done by with injury, and they come at the worst possible times. Just as you're getting some form, you get injured again, and you get an injury upon another injury. And he seems to be that bloke for us. Since that 2020 grand final, he just has not had an opportunity. And even when he was probably looking like he was going to come back, you come up against a grand final team like we had, like a premiership team, I should say, like last year. And how do you crack that? I mean. And, he's up against it this year as well. Like, he's got to try and crack in. We've got added 3 new blokes to the team. We lost one old bloke in Selwood and a few other older guys like Dalhouse and Higgins that weren't really playing towards the back end of last year. But it's still pretty much the same core of players, and he's got to find a spot. So I hope he gets in. Good old Silk. Every time I go down to the cat shop or the Cat's Cafe, he's in there. He loves his coffee. I don't know if he's drinking coffee all the time, but he's always in that cafe. I don't know if you live in Geelong and you get a little kick out of seeing some of the players get in there and have a coffee, but I don't. That kind of stuff doesn't worry me. I'm usually just there at the cat shop or whatever, or I'm at netball training with my daughter just on the outside courts there, so I pop my head in, but grab a coffee or something if I can. I love watching him play at the moment. It says Sam's a nice player, just a roster guy now, but handy to have. I hope he has no more head knocks. Yeah, me too. Hopefully that's the last of it. But when you say about roster guy, though, we could have said the same thing about Zach Guthrie, just a good backup roster player. Zach Guthrie, he'll be an All-Australian when it's all said and done, when it's all over. He will one day become an All-Australian. I think I did say in a video that he'd be All-Australian this year. I don't know if I'm super confident on that, but I went with it. He definitely will be an All-Australian at some point in his career. He's just attacking that footy so hard now, and he's going to have so much confidence from winning that premiership. I can't wait to see Zach Guthrie 2.0, the new improved version of Zach Guthrie in 2023. Let's see what it looks like. I'm keen. I'm really, really keen. What do we think about Isaac Smith? Let's talk about some of the really old buggers at the club. I think we talked a little bit. Tom Hawkins, Isaac Smith. Surely this is his last year. Surely. Jai Clark. How many games will Jai Clark get, Paddy? I think 8 to 10. I think maybe, and I think he'll get gifted a lot of those because they want to put games into him early. as opposed to earning them. But yeah, I think he'll probably play 8 or 10. But Isaac Smith, I'm thinking, I think 2 years left, Lockie says. He's a smooth operator, yeah. He doesn't look like he ever wants to retire. I think you'll have to force him out of the team, as in someone will have to take his spot. I don't know who that'll be. I am hearing that Ollie Henry has been pretty impressive on the wing. Interestingly, I know they played him all over the place, but he was on the wing in the intra-club match, and then went forward and was marking everything. So don't be surprised if Isaac Smith doesn't play every single game. I think he'll want to play, though. I don't think he'll want to finish his career in the VFL. I'm pretty sure. I think he's won 4 premierships, and I think that would dent his pride a little bit too much. But he clearly feels like he's good enough to go again and to be in our best 22 for another year. But I would imagine after this year, he might sort of ask himself the question about whether he'll still be able to do that again, and or does he want to play half the year in the VFL? But the other thing you got to think about, if you are a team man and you are thinking about the long-term future of your club, is you might be holding someone back from having opportunities, and just so you can get a few more games. And look, if you're winning premierships, which we did last year, clearly you don't want to give your spot up. But if you're not really contending, or if we don't look like we're going to be contending again at the end of this year, will he go again, or will he have to sort of ask himself that question? Am I sort of holding someone else back that could be maybe not earning the games? As I said, I think Jai Clark will play 8 to 10 games. That he'll play some good games, but I think he'll probably be gifted a few of those to get his games up, which you just got to do with the kids. There's no other way. You don't generally earn it really until you've played 50 or so, until you become a regular. You've just got to get games into these guys, otherwise you fall off a cliff pretty quickly, and you've got guys that have got no experience at all because you've been trusting the old blokes too much. So you just have to get your list right, unfortunately, and sometimes that means playing some guys that probably don't deserve it. But there'd be an older guy that would be going a little bit better, that you maybe got to give yourself a better chance of winning, but in the long run, you're probably doing yourself a disservice, I'd say. Could be a bench player in 2024. Nice veteran to have, but he's more elite than people think. Yeah, I think he could be a good bench player, a good player to maybe play 10 or 15 games, if that's what he wants to do. And at the moment, I just don't know. Like, I'd love to talk to him and ask him the question. It's probably something, that kind of question might come off as a bit insulting, so I definitely wouldn't ask it. But if I could get inside his head somehow, I would think that maybe he'd be reluctant to take on that role. There have been players over the past that have done that type of thing, where they said, "Yeah, no, I just want to be here to support the new guys coming through, and I'll do what you need me to do. Whatever, I don't care. I've won 4 premierships. Who cares? I've made a lot of money playing the game, and happy to sail off in the sunset. No one's going to change the history that I've won 4 premierships, but he might want to go and do other things and not waste his time in the VFL, maybe, or waste his time on the bench playing 60% of game time. I can't remember. I think it was something like Selwood played hardly. He had a significant reduction in game time, even when he was on the park last year. So interesting to see if a few of the other blokes ride the bench a lot more in the years to come. Have I missed anyone? Paddy says Smithy has 100% year left. Oh yeah, yep, but can definitely play well past this. Well past a lot of confidence. Am I reading that? Maybe I need to go and revisit this one, because there's a lot of love for Smith. See, if you watched my show when Smith first came to the club, almost to last year, I was not a big fan of the ex-Hawthorn man. It took me a while to like the guy enough to get excited when the ball came near him. But yeah, it's pretty hard when you win a Nom Smith medal to not get a bit of love from the fans. So I guess I have to give him a little bit of love, don't I? Yes, he won a Nom Smith. 2 years left in him. There's a lot of love for Isaac Smith. Maybe I'll have to do a video about Isaac Smith and to sort of ask people what they think about him. because I am. You do see a lot of love on the socials. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's you people in the chat that have got the problem. That you need to remember that we hate Hawthorn, and it's time. You've been enjoying a premiership success too much, and you've forgotten how much we hate Hawthorn or Lockie. You haven't been traumatised by. Oh no, you were 1 year old at the time, but you haven't been traumatised enough by Hawthorn over the years to really hate them as much as what I do. And you had all those wins too, didn't you? From 2009, how many in a row do we win? 12 or 13 or something like that against them. That was pretty good. Injuries go away. Yeah, we got pretty lucky with injuries last year, and we did a lot of good man management or load management, and that's great. A lot of it is down to a bit of luck, but hopefully we'll get lucky again. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that you can't predict these things really. I mean, going into a season, you might have a few guys coming back from injury, and then one injury leads to another injury, or someone's underdone because they haven't had a proper pre-season and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully we get lucky again with injuries and we got more selection headaches again. It's asking a lot, 2 years in a row with a good run of injury. I mean, you don't tend to win too many premierships when you've decimated with injury. I know Bulldogs seem to have that philosophy when they won it in 2006, I think it was. They just seem to replace some guy, next soldier up kind of thing. But you don't see it very often. That was a bit of a weird premiership, that one. I hope we get a reasonable run with injury. I feel like it's going to be some players are going to struggle. I just hope that the guys, like we said before, Sam Simpson, I hope he has a good run at it. I hope Max's hamstring stays nice and healthy, and I hope Hawkins gets back to gets his fitness up real quick, and my prediction that he will only play 10 or 12 games doesn't come true. I'd hate that. I think. Hey Andy, how you going? Thanks for joining the chat. Andy says, as soon as someone wears the hoops, you've got to forgive them for their previous mistakes. Andy, oh my God, it's not that simple, mate. I don't know. No, what if Sam Mitchell came to Geelong in a assistant coaching role, or I don't know, let's say Chris Scott finishes up in 4 years, and then Sam Mitchell wants out of Hawthorn because it hasn't worked, and can you imagine it? No. Hodge comes back. I can't handle it. I really, really struggle, and it's just me. Probably is just me. But you're going to have to tolerate that if you watch this channel, because I don't like. I'm sure they're wonderful people. But yeah, the fans are a bit average, I have to say. I think the fans are a bit average. I'm sure the players are fine. But yeah, it did hurt me a little bit. Puke, thank you. Are you with me either moment? I think Stanley should still be our main ruckman, I think, along with Blitz. Yeah, I think Stanley will be the number one for a little bit longer. Come on, Andy says, I vividly remember Isaac Smith smiling away that shot after the siren. He missed secretly already in the Geelong camp. Yeah, we gave him a big brown bag of cash after that, didn't we? $10,000 in a crumpled paper bag. Cheeky bugger. That was great. I still remember walking to the station, just watching the replay of that last minute or two on my phone. And just all these Hawk supporters were cracking the shits. I'm like, oh, maybe you'll kick this one. Like, I've been a real stirring them up a little bit, but that was good. We do not have many other options. No, is it for a ruck? We don't. I mean, we never have, but didn't matter last year, did it? We ended up winning the premiership, and I think a lot of clubs will be looking at our ruck setup, how we went about it. We had, your Stanley and your Blitzarves through the middle and down back, and then Hawkins up forward. I mean, not everyone can be a forward ruck like Tom Hawkins does and do it that well and kick the first 2 goals of the grand final. How good was that? How good was that? If it happens again, fantastic. I don't know. I was really optimistic last year on the Catters all year long. In the preseason, the preview video that I did before the season started, I was big on the Catters. I was saying they were going to go all the way and win the whole thing. I think I said I had them about 18 or 19 wins or something like that. I'm less optimistic this year. I think we're still going to be very competitive in September. I don't think they'll win as many home and away games, just because I think they're going to have to manage their players a lot more, like double down on that, and that's going to mean another few losses here and there. But I think if we get it right and we do it, we get a little bit of luck again, I think we'll be okay in September. I can see, we'll go as far as to say I'll definitely make a prelim, and I'm very optimistic that we'll reappear in the grand final, even though history says you've got 1 in 3 chance of making it back to the grand final and a 20% chance of winning it again, back to back. So it's a tough thing to do, very, very, very hard to do. But I think we'll definitely be in a prelim, and with the experience, it depends on who we play. Like there's going to be a lot of hungry clubs out there that haven't won a premiership for some time. Melbourne feels like they're still in their premiership era. Richmond probably feels like they've got another crack at it. There's a bunch of other teams. Brisbane, everyone's been talking about them in the off-season. It's their turn. So I'm not convinced on Brisbane. Collingwood, are they a one-hit wonder? They might want to prove some people wrong as well. I don't know. Look, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. But I think we'll be there when the whips are cracking at the very end in September. I just don't feel like it's going to be as fun a ride as what it was this season. The season just gone in the regular season, winning all those games. I think we'll win a healthy amount and we'll position us quite well. I think still we might finish outside of the 4, and we'll get there. We'll win a final we're probably not expected to win, and find ourselves in a prelim, and then it's just about whether we're good enough to win another one. Potentially interstate, never know. We might get lucky enough to play an away game in Melbourne. Heavens above, we play a lot of home games against Melbourne tenants, so we should be lucky enough to play an away final against a Melbourne MCG tenant. That'd be nice. Last year was fully confident. Yeah, I was thinking I was a bit more arrogant than confident. I went with it. We didn't think we would win the whole thing, Lockie, but I think as the season went on more and more, I knew if we had that, I felt like if we won that first final, which we just got over the line, I thought we'd be pretty competitive, and it'd be hard for us to lose the grand final, or hard for us to lose the whole thing. If we won that first final, I think we'd be well positioned. I needed to believe that this system was going to work. Clearly after getting past that first final, we smashed Brisbane in the prelim, and then we smashed Sydney in the grand final. So I think the boys themselves believed it too, and then the fans clearly did as well. Geelong Melbourne grand final. I wouldn't be surprised about that one either moment. I think that's looking likely to me as well. But it can depend on where teams fall on the side of the in the draw in the finals and all that. Who's playing who and whatnot. But on paper, you'd say those two teams have got the best chance of making a grand final. Whether they end up in the grand final together, that's another thing. We might meet in a prelim, and naturally it just knocks one of us out. So it doesn't go that way all the time. Hey, Rach, nice to see you in the chat. Of our 4 AFL premierships, gun to your head. One gets to... Oh, mate. Gun to the head stuff. One gets deleted from existence. Which one goes? Oh, God. Can't get rid of the Joel Selwood premiership captain one. Cannot do that. 07, no chance, because it was that we ended the run of 44 years, whatever it was. It's a toss up between 09 and 2011. Oh, good question. Lockie saying 2011, 2000. I was at the 2009 grand final, the toe poke, the chappy goal. I was right behind the goal where he kicked it. I'm going to have to knock out 2011. Oh, man. And the funny thing about 2011 is I actually had a dream. I think we won that game by 32 points. I actually had a dream that year that we would play Geelong in a grand final. It would be close for 3 quarters, and then we'd run over the top of them and win by 35 points. And it pretty much played out to script. That was back in 2011. But yeah, if you're gonna put a pistol to my head, to the old temple, and make me pick, I'm going to have to knock out 2011. Oh, that's a good video, Rach. I'm going to have to do a video about that one at some point. We might have to when we get you on the show later in the year. I can't remember when you're coming on, Rach, but we'll have to have that topic discussion, I reckon, because that'll be an interesting one. I don't know. What would you knock out? I asked Mum and Dad, and she said none. I'd rather get shot and give one up. You can't. Oh, you can't. 09. Paddy says 09. Lockie says, if you're getting rid of 2009, you're crazy. 2011 must go. Never going to give up a grand final win over Collingwood. Oh, they're so hard to get rid of. Wouldn't give any of them up. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I might call it there. Thanks for joining me on the chat. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed chatting with you all. As I said, I can't do this all the time, but every now and then, when I've got a little bit of free time, it is nice to jump on the live show and just to sort of wing it a little bit without a script or without any sort of cheat sheets or anything like that. I really appreciated everyone coming on. Looks like there's been some good chat there as well. So I appreciate everyone for jumping in on that and having a good old chat. And as we always say when we finish the show, go Cats! Take care, everyone. I'll see you on the next one.